Promised a Sparty party. Let's go.
I promised a party and a Sparty party and just the joy of sports. Come on.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a party in itself, yeah.
Well, it is crazy to think that the month of February is almost over, but that marks the end of the hockey regular season around here, both in the high school ranks and the college ranks. But while that marks the end of one chapter, it only marks the beginning of another. The best one yet. Playoff hockey, so that's where we go. Playoff hockey at Westman Arena featuring Bree Simon and her UWS Yellow Jackets, who are hosting a team they have not allowed a single goal against this season. Northland College skate in the first frame here. Jackets getting set up. And it's the Ontario native Darby Matson who goes to Snipe City after that one. Taylor Marks, the other Ontario native, gets the apple in that one to get things rolling. Jackets up 1-0 on the power play here. Maddie Ruritz throws it on net. A pretty goal to double the lead now 2-0 for UWS. Same period here, Jenna Hoops on a mission to the twine. She hits Kaylee Sweron. That's what you call Johnny in the spot for the 3-0 lead after one. Second period in another power play. Wuritz throws it up, and then it's Serwin again. She gets the tip in, and the Jackets are rolling for nothing. Marks at the puck here. She fires, and Trinity Middle cleans up the trash up front to put away number 5 for the home team, who just keep doing their day job the right way, scoring goals, 4 more in fact, as they advance in the WHAC playoffs thanks to a 9-0 shutout win over Northland.